Sim update number 1 should have already been available, but it has been delayed, as we all know. In this video, we're gonna look at the latest beta release because there's a new one which was released yesterday. So yesterday there was a new build for Sim update number 1, right? I'm talking about the beta build, so it's not the official build, and it bumps up the version to version 1.3.24.0. Which means that in this case there's only one internal, let's say, version of the update, because the previous one was 22, which now bumps up to 24. So if we're looking at this, right, there's always the default disclaimer that you should remove all the community add-ons before testing this. And if we would look at the description of the fixes, you can see that there are only a minor number of fixes, which means that we're coming very, very close to the release date, which is unfortunately still unknown. So what are the general bug fixes, right? There was a wrong HUD color, purple, white instead of green on some of the aircrafts. And there was an issue with the free flight mode where if you select, or if you previously select the variation and livery of an aircraft, it didn't remember that, right? So you need to continuously change that. Say, small fix, but still an interesting one. Although I know that everybody would like to see real fixes for some serious issues, right? This could be seen as a minor issue, which wouldn't hurt that much. The other thing which was pretty interesting is also that there is an added aircraft development guidelines for the career mode. So it looks like that they're, let's say, investigating some of the other things, which brings up another topic. So one of my favorite sites, which I would say love to monitor, is the MSFS add-ons, because it contains a lot of information. But there's also now an interesting post, which they posted based on the interview they had with Jörg Neumann, right, the head of Microsoft Flight Simulator. And it's specifically about the missions, right? For all of you, you know the career mode, right? The career mode is really great, but in some cases you might want to, let's say, fly those missions without going into the career mode. For example, a mission of firefighting, cargo transport, search and rescue, or also some other things. So what they now stated is that, okay, based on a request of the community, so they're listening again to the community wants to have the ability to play these missions as standalone activities without needing to progress through the career mode, right? Because some people like the career mode, but other people might not like it that much. So in an interview with MSFS add-ons, which was regarding the Inibuild 350, Airbus 350, they stated, or he stated, that indeed it was confirmed that they're now actively considering making the career mode missions available as independent experiences, which would mean that you could simply start, say, playing those missions independently without going into the career mode. That's because they want to give you also some more flexibility, right? So currently missions in the career mode are locked within a career progression system, and they would love that people are, would say, using those individual missions more and more and more because it adds a lot of value. Now, if we would scroll down, we would see some other things, right? So what do we find more, right? I would say some things about statements about fixes, right? So it says, they say, okay, hey, fixing existing issues in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 takes priority, right? We all know, and that's also what we love to see, because there are some serious issues which they really need to fix before new features like this to be introduced, which means that also the features you're requesting could be delayed because they simply are wanting to fix their sim and make it work correctly so that more people can consider moving over from the previous versions. So if you would like to have this feature, then you likely need to wait for Sim update number 3, or maybe even after that. And Sim update number 3 is not scheduled for summer period, but as we can see with Sim update number 1, which has been delayed already several times, I would say, okay, that could still be, I would say that this update is also being, I would say, affected. Other things which were interesting, right? So career mode is really popular, as they say, right? Which makes sense. But also what they say that the Microsoft marketplace rental system will change how simmers access add-ons, right? So you can rent an aircraft or add-ons and then simply try them based on what I understood, and then also would say, hey, I don't want it to have it anymore. This is really cool because it adds a lot of let's say options. Of course, it really depends on the pricing, right? But let's see how that will evaluate. Then we've got the shared cockpit is being explored. This was already mentioned several times in multiple other videos, but they now confirmed that it's actively looking into the shared cockpit functionality, right? It's a long requested feature for multiplayer players, that could bring a new level of realism to airline operations. For example, one could be the pilot, one could be the co-pilot. Those are scenarios which you could think about. And then the latest statement, there are no plans for Flight Simulator 2028 for now, right? That's what it would make sense, right? Flight Simulator 2024 has been, between brackets, just released, and there are still so many fixes which they need to implement here that I do think that they will wait some time. But let's see, maybe you would say things will change in the near future. So some really interesting topics being, let's say, sent out or being, let's say, shared during that, interview which they had, which is really cool, really cool. Going back to sim update number 1, what can we expect? Well, I would say it could be that this is the almost latest release, but it could also be that there are some more releases. If we would jump into the flightsimulator.com website, I need to go to the core website, of course, not to the forum homepage. So here we go. That's where we see that the 2025 development update, which was released on the 27th of February, is also being mentioned, right? And here they state that, okay, there's no launch date to share, right? So they're planning to release a new beta update, which was the one we just discussed. But other than that, there's nothing. The other things which they discussed are the feedback snapshots, but if you look at this, right, and if we would go to it, you will see that there are a lot of things which will be fixed in sim update number 2. So you can see, for example, the free look, axis crosswalk overly sensitive, that will be fixed in sim update number 1, but a lot of these things will be fixed in sim update number 2. So I do think that based on what I see here, and based also on the list of items which you see on the rest of the list, I would say sim update number 2 will likely, be a huge update. I'm not sure how big sim update number 1 will be. It will be pretty big, but sim update number 2 will be even bigger. That's what I currently expect. You can still see that there are several items under investigation. So let's hope, between brackets, that everything will go as they expected. So sim update number 1, 3, and 2, not sim update number 10, will contain a lot of fixes, but don't expect it to fix all the issues, right? So keep coming in or keep reporting those issues using the official ways. Provide as much as detail as possible, because that will help the team, testing things and also figuring out things. So with that, we're at the end of this video, right? Where we looked at sim update number 1, the beta build, the latest one, which bumps up the version 2. Do you still remember? I think it was 2024, right? So let's have a look at it again. So 1.3.24, not 2024, but 24. So if you're participating in beta, then you will get the update automatically. And if you don't participate in the beta, but you are considering to provide some more feedback because you want to improve the sim, then consider joining the beta for now. But of course, I fully respect if you don't want to do it, because there are also some risks for that. Here ends the video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, then make sure to hit the like button, and I hope to see you back next video.